Today, I want to go over a draft from the KT Rolster D+ Kia series from a few days ago in the LCK playoffs. This draft is a great example of how not to draft on red side, as we see D+ Kia really blunder on several occasions. After we finish examining the draft, I want to show you all what I would do in the same situation on red side. Now, I understand that since I'm picking different champs than D+ did, KT's picks wouldn't have been the same, but for the purposes of the video, I'm just showing general red side concepts rather than specific champ picks. Let's take a look. KT opened with Vi first pick on blue side, which is okay. It's good because it's simple single target lockdown that's unavoidable, so it sets up nicely for the rest of your team. It's not so good because Vi does not scale well, and is not as powerful in the early game as some other junglers, and realistically, she'll just immediately die upon ulting into the enemy team. I think the champ definitely has more negatives than positives, especially being picked this early, but either way, it could be Lee Sin. D+ answer with Azir and Lucian. Now, I'm not a fan of blind picking solo lane so early, especially on red side, but I'm assuming they think this champ is super broken because it just got off a universal ban recently. Regardless, Azir is still generally strong, long-ranged and scales like a beast. The Lucian is obviously for Lucian Nami, which was super high priority this series. However, you see that already that D+ has self-countering themes, with Azir wanting long-range scaling and Lucian Nami wanting short-range mid-game power. KT 2-3 Ashe and Rumble, which is fine. The Ashe is good because it outranges Lucian and matches range with Azir, so it will be able to function well in teamfights here. Even though the Rumble will likely struggle at least in lane, the first three picks here for KT have a pretty clear goal. Layer ults with one another and one-shot one specific target. Vi ult guarantees the other two, so on paper it is a strong combo. With the Nami lock on R3 as predicted, neither team really has a big advantage through the first phase, but I would rather be blue side because of the synergy between champs. D+ R4 K'Sante, which similar to the Azir pick, I think is super unnecessary. Blind picking solo lanes when you have R5 counter pick available is simply very bad. This is my big issue with the D+ draft this game. KT first picked their jungler B1, and we're waiting to use R5 counter for jungle? It makes literally no sense and is honestly a terrible draft strategy. General drafting strategy on red side should be to counter what the enemy just picked and pick the next OP in line, meaning that optimally jungle should have been first rotated once Vi was first picked. Either way, D+ didn't do this, and they are for K'Sante blind. Now luckily, KT don't actually punish either blind pick solo lane with a Renekton Veigar last rotation. We all know how I feel about Renekton, especially into a scaling tank like K'Sante, but the Veigar is good. Matches scaling with Azir and just super OP, underrated champ right now. And D+ R5 Nocturne, which as I explained is terrible. And not only because of how they used R5, but think about what's going to happen to Nocturne when he dives in this game. He's going to be pretty useless here. Now neither team had a good draft in the slightest, but conceptually D+ really fumbled the ball. So now I want to show you what I would have done in their situation. Keeping the same first phase bans, blue side B1 Vi. Like I said earlier, counter what enemy just picked and pick the next best thing. I take Xin Zhao first, which beats Vi early and outscales her. Now for R2, I don't want to needlessly blind pick a solo lane, and into Vi I want something with mobility that can survive getting Vi ulted. I also want scaling and range preferably, so I take Ezreal. Blue side picks Ashe Rumble next, so I want something that can contest early push in lane, match scaling and range with Ezreal and provide him protection, so I take Karma. This is also good because Xin Zhao loves enchanters and is a much better champion with one by his side. Through the first phase, I have more range, more scaling, and a winning bot lane and jungle matchup. So on R4, I do have to blind to solo lane, so I'm just going to take the strongest option that pairs with my team. I want scaling and range, and I do need an AP threat in the mid lane. I'd also like something that can get push in lane and can't be super hard punished as a blind pick. Really, I could take several champs here like Azir, Ziggs, or Orianna, but for simplicity's sake, I'll settle for the Azir pick so I can have some mobility and self-peel. Blue side then rounds out with a Renekton and Veigar. And this is where R5 counterpick is supposed to come in and actually be used. Blue side was forced to blind top, and they chose Renekton, so I want to counter with something that outscales him, doesn't lose hard in lane, and can function well with my team comp. Also, some frontline and engage would be nice, since I'm lacking some of that. A champion that matches all of those descriptions is Ornn. So take a look at my team on red side and tell me what use Renekton and Vi will have this game. They'll dive in and immediately be one-shot. The only hope blue side has is layering ults into one-shotting a target. Otherwise, they are completely countered as red side has 3, even if not winning lanes, with better range and better scaling. Easy draft win that really just came down to the placement of picks. That's the big lesson here, especially on red side, counter what enemy just picked and pick the next OP. And as always save R5 counter for top lane. Thanks for watching, see you next time.